Look at here. I'm just going to come right out and just say it just like it is. If you are broke, you really don't have any business trying to look for a relationship. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say it just like that. I know usually whenever I start a video, I don't really start off in a sort of tone like that. But I think with this video, I actually had to make an exception because, again, there's a common theme or trend that's been going on, and it's been going on for quite some time. And the fact is that, you get tired of, seeing the same thing over and over and over again to the point where, you're like, okay, well, you know what? I think I'm going to actually give my take on it. And not only do I want to give my take on it, I want, someone who maybe listened to this video to really understand what I'm actually trying to get at, because again, I believe is that when you tell the truth, it helps others. Yeah, it may sting at first like a sore, but as time goes on, you'll begin to appreciate that sting because with that sting, after that, it comes a lot of healing. And I think, again, this is a subject here that I think that I really need to kind of expound on and talk about because I believe, again, a lot of people are in relationships when they really don't even have any business being in a relationship. Now, I know the ultimate goal for people these days, of course, according to society, is to be in a relationship, and, society always wants to, portray this happy-go-lucky couple where they have lots of happiness, and they are able to live the life, and all this other type of stuff, but sometimes you actually have to really sit back and really look and really examine the worth of a relationship, especially if there are certain elements that are missing that are needed in a relationship. And one of those main things, again, that can cause a relationship to fail that is really needed is the fact of the financial aspect of being in a relationship. Out of everything that costs money these days, we have a house, we have a mortgage, we have a car, we have bills. All of these things cost money. And again, not only does it cost money, but again, if you don't have it to pay it, you're going to soon lose it. And the thing about it, again, is that in order to maintain these things, you have to be willing to have what's needed in order to, keep this thing going, which is money. And the thing about it is that it's the same thing. And I want to bring that same concept over to people that are actually trying to look for relationships, who are trying to do everything they can to be in a relationship when they really haven't taken the time to really research to see what would that act of going and trying to get in a relationship, would it actually benefit them? I actually speak from this from a personal standpoint because, number one, I'm not looking for a relationship, but if one happens, it is what it is. But I'm actually coming from a personal standpoint because I actually know a couple of people, who, again, I'm not putting anybody's business out there, but, they never view my videos or they don't even know that I have a YouTube channel, I don't think. But anyway, I really don't care. The fact is that, they are in relationships. As a matter of fact, they're not only just in a relationship, but they're married. But yet still, they are broke. One thing that I would have to say in this day and time, and this is just my opinion, is that really you have to be really in a comfortable financial state in order to say I do. Because one of the worst things that you can do as a man, because I'm speaking from the male perspective, is to enter into something that you are not financially ready for. A lot of people don't look at a relationship as a situation that requires financial responsibility. But we're starting to learn more and more these days is that we have a lot of broke brothers that are actually wanting to get into a relationship because of the fact that they are, quote unquote, lonely. And really what I look at it is that, or the way that I look at it is that lonely is not really so much a bad thing, especially with the way things are going these days as far as relationships and what people will do to keep a relationship. I look at it as, when you're in a relationship, or being alone, this is the time for you to really hone in and really see what is really important to you, what matters to you, how you handle certain things. Are you even good with actually managing money? Because one of the main things is that if you cannot manage your money, how in the hell will you be able to manage your relationship? And the sad part about it, again, is that you have a lot of brothers that are out there that have actually gotten into marriage And the fact part about it is that they've gotten into it because, again, number one, they may have misinterpreted the word of God, or they're given into societal pressures as, thinking that they have to have somebody. But I'm always reminded, and again, this is where you really have to know the word and know the Bible. I'm not saying that I am a Bible scholar, but one of the main things that you have to understand is that, in the book of Corinthians, I think it is, Paul actually tells us and teaches us that being single is actually not really a bad thing at all. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing because it's now you being one-on-one with God. You can actually focus on God and, do the will of God. Whenever you are in a relationship, you have to play that happy balance where you don't want to give too much time from one and neglect from the other. You have to play that happy balance, which sometimes can really wear you out. But even in that, with being said, the fact that you need broke folks needs to be alone, it's because, again, a lot of them are actually hopping and getting into things when they even haven't learned basic skills. I cannot tell you got people that are in relationships and they don't even know how to balance a checkbook. They don't know how to establish a budget. They don't know how to do any of these things, but yet still they want to be in a relationship. And it really angers me. It really does. It really angers me because of the fact that you have these type of people. And when you try to go and talk to them and let them know that, hey, maybe you should kind of cool it on a relationship right now, because, again, you are lacking some of the basic skills of just living. Money management, when you do it the right way, it can open doors. It can take you a long way. But when you're going into something that is as serious as a relationship, i.e. marriage, and you haven't even gotten the basics of how to handle your money, you are really destined for failure. Now, again, this video, may not sit well to a lot of people because, again, you may have a lot of people that are listening to this video who may be actually in a serious relationship, and they're hoping that, that it can lead to marriage, which is always good. I know the Bible says that it's not good for man to be alone. I get that. But there are certain things that you actually, and certain skills that you should already have under your belt before you even think about getting into a relationship, much less a marriage. Just like what it would, for a woman. It's assumed that, a woman should actually have more skills than just laying on her backside and producing babies. It's expected, at least from my generation and earlier, I would think that, whenever you're getting married, you're going to go out there, you're going to seek a wife or whatever. You want her to actually come from a house where she was actually already taught on how to be an acceptable woman, i.e. how to take care of the home, how to take care of the husband, how to cook, and how to do all this other type of stuff, how to make a house a home where the man would be glad to come home, and just, be a husband. But just like that, you have a lot of women these days, they don't even want to know the basics on how to cook. All they want to do is wear false eyelashes, these fake nails, have these fake personalities, getting these BBLs and all this other type of stuff. And that's, I guess, in their opinion, about what womanhood is all about. Boy, I miss those days where, true teaching was actually taught in the home as far as grooming, young boys to be husbands and young women's to be wives. You don't really see much of that anymore because, again, society has changed, and society has changed the views as far as what it takes in order to be in a relationship. You got a lot of brothers out there, again, that are just so broke to the point where they don't really need to be looking anywhere except to God. Number one, they need to pray to actually help them to understand what their role is as far as actually being able to better themselves. You could barely keep a job. And then once you get a job, again, every time you get a paycheck, you're buying things that you don't really need. You're spending money that doesn't need to be spent instead of saving it up and having a goal. The minute you see somebody else with something, you want to go get it too. Why? Because, again, you see somebody else with something. Again, basic money management. And then the fact is that once you've gotten a paycheck or whatever, now you're thinking that, okay, you're on top of the world. Now you need to go and seek a relationship. I'm going to tell you something. A relationship, especially these days, unless you are, in a sense, making six figures, you really don't need to be looking for a relationship. Because, again, these days, again, and I'm going to just be real, again, women are, for the most part, not all, And I would hope to think that those that are listening to this video will know that I'm not talking about all women, because I don't know all women. But for the most part, women these days and time, they are very materialistic. The minute that, they see someone who is reasonably good looking, who they probably would think that they could possibly have something with, the first thing that they want to know is how much money he's making, how much money he's bringing home, where does he work, what does he do, and all this other type of stuff. Now, in theory, of course, you may want to get to know somebody and want to know what they do, because again, if you're talking about getting into a relationship with somebody, you want to make sure that they have the ability to take care and to handle, business should you all get in a serious relationship. But the way that things are now, even in dating, the dynamics of what it takes to actually be dateable, again, is questionable. Because again, you're being measured to a standard that is just, again, unfair, and it's unrealistic. And it's like, they get their cues of living from what they see as far as basketball wives, and all this other type of reality TV crap. Instead of looking into the reality to see that, again, most brothers, they are struggling. And the sad part about it, again, is that, it's sad, but it's true. Most women, again, black women, for the most part, they're out earning men. And then the thing about it, again, is that, with this, because of this, again, the man feels that he has the right not to even try, to just come to the relationship or offer to actually be in a relationship where you have to accept me as I am. Yeah. But the thing about it, again, is that if you're thinking smart, the man will automatically know that at some point, money is going to become a subject at some point in time. Okay, yeah, the sex may be good and all this other type of stuff, and again, women are now the new hustlers. They are out there doing the stuff. They're actually approaching a man. The man is the new woman. He's sitting up there, being, accosted by a woman. And the thing about it, again, is that when he's not thinking, he's just going by the looks. And next thing you know, he's already, done fell in love and didn't even have anything to bring to the table. So now the woman is in control. She can tell him how to pretty much move. And that's not the way that it's supposed to be. But again, men these days, they've actually accepted that change. So now when you see a man in a relationship, for the most part, he's not the one that's making the money. The woman is. So she's telling him where he can go, when he got to come back here, and who he can talk to, and this, that, the other. Even when it comes down to family, which is the most sad and pathetic part. But the issue is bringing it back to the forefront here. Again, you got a lot of brothers that are out there that are not making a lot of money, and they're barely surviving, living paycheck to paycheck, can barely, put scrape 2 pennies together. And a lot of them also, again, let's be real, are still living with their folks. The way that this economy is, it is what it is. But you got a lot of them that, again, that are not even trying to even help themselves. They're hoping that a woman can come and save them, from living with their parents. So I'm trying to figure out, what is that all about? Again, a broke man has no business trying to even look a woman's way. You don't even have no business even opening your mouth to even try to spit game to anybody until you get yourself together. That shows me right there. See, that's called self-respect. I'm not going to put myself out there and embarrass myself and try to shoot my shot with somebody who, already has everything together that can, put me to shame. You see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if I'm going to go and approach a female, okay, number one, I'm going to make sure I have a little something going on for myself. I want to make sure I have a house or an apartment or something. So if I want to bring this woman home, I will have something of my own where I don't have to go to her place to stay the night or whatever. Where I always have to go. If I want to see her, I have to always go to her place. Maybe I want to bring her to my place. I want to have something that's already established where I can do that. But again, these days, men have pretty much traded in their pants and want to wear the skirts now and, and behave like the female. Now, it's like they're running, and wanting to go to other folks' house to lay up with them and all this other type of stuff. This is crazy. I just don't understand, for the most part, where all of this is coming from. Again, you're broke, you're busted, and you're disgusting. And again, these women, for the most part, they know it, but a lot of them are desperate for the fact that they'll just accept what you have to offer, even if you don't have much of anything, just for the sake of saying that, hey, I'm in a relationship. It goes both ways. But again, for the man, it looks it looks worse than for a man, because again, society expects for the man to have his stuff together. If there's any relationship to be formed, again, it should be from a man that actually has his stuff together for the most part. Now, again, it's a struggle right now, given the way that this economy is right now. Again, you really have to focus hard and really work to the bone in order to, to be considered, average. But again, even in that, you still want to make sure that you put your best foot forward. If you already know you are struggling, why would you bring somebody else into that misery with you? Again, that doesn't make any sense. And I cannot tell you, again, with some of the people that I've talked to, even in my own family, that will trade in their self-respect, their manhood, and allow a woman to be the head of the household. What in the hell are you thinking? So I don't really understand, again, why this actually changed. And again, a lot of men, they're okay with it. They're okay with the woman actually making all the decisions and such, so they don't have to do much. But the thing about it, again, is that if you don't do things the way that God intended to do, where the man actually takes rule and takes his proper place in the relationship, again, it's not going to work. Because, again, disrespect is going to soon follow. It has to. Anytime you do things that are out of order, that are contrary to the word of God, that means that it's out of order and it will not work. Even when it comes to something as simple as a relationship. Again, I understand, you don't want to put money above everything and every single thing. But again, money has its place. If it wasn't needed, it wouldn't be here for us to use. But again, it's a sad thing when you have a man that is broke as a skunk, but called himself trying to shoot his shot. That's all that I'm going to say for that. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon in the future with an upcoming video. You all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.